Brew Nation, welcome back. You guys asked and asked and asked, and we deliver clinical data management, clinical data manager, clinical data analyst. Dan, Dan, how do I do? How do I do? How do I do? How do I become? How do I do this? How data management. This is all I hear, Aditya. This is like, so we've got Aditya Sai Ramakrishna, a fan of Sadhguru. Everybody go, his LinkedIn profile is underneath this video. Click on it, connect, message him, tell him you watched. If you're a data manager or somebody interested in data management, this is the guy, this is the expert, guys. I tell you, I only talk about things I know. I know very little about data management, so I don't talk too much about it, but I try to bring guest guru. Back in the day, I called the guest guru. It got a little corny, but you're the guest guru, Aditya, and I think it's only fitting, all the way from Ireland, but your reach is global, your network is global. I see on LinkedIn you have a lot of followers, and you're gonna have more now. I have a feeling you're gonna have more now. This is a popular topic, Aditya.
Yeah.
So first of all, welcome to the show. I know
Thank
you
you.
have, like, we got to get into your background as well. You have a background in pharmacy.
Yes.
Can you bring us to how you became a data manager from, let's say, from college?
From college. Yeah, sure, Dan. I would love to. Firstly, thank you for giving me this opportunity and talk. So I'm really lucky. So coming to my point and starting with my career, I did my PharmD. It's a doctor of pharmacy, 6 years professional doctorate degree program way back in India. I did one project on how to test XYZ drug, and it was just an observational study. And since then, the clinical study it involved too much of lab samples, everything. I was initially more interested in to design a case report form and how to take informed consent process and everything. So that was really interesting. It was really fascinating for me at that time. But due to limited number of resources, I couldn't get results. But I gradually progressed, and yeah, that's where my passion to do clinical research masters began. So I completed my graduation in 2019. I came here in Ireland, directly from India after my PharmD, and I just did my masters. Meanwhile, in that, I was really lucky enough to get a fellowship program in the same university.
So from data manager, can you help me understand this hierarchy from data manager to data analyst? How does that work in most companies? Like, which one is, like, on the hierarchy, which
Okay.
one is like harder to become? Which one's
Mhm.
entry level? How does this? I don't know anything about this stuff.
No worries, Dan. So yeah, the hierarchy is just pretty simple when you come into the pharma world and all. So it starts all with clinical data management, the department. You start as an associate clinical data analyst. So globally, this might be different, but in generic, I'm trying to say it's associate clinical data analyst. Then comes the clinical data analyst. Then it goes with 1, 2, and 3, and after that it goes clinical data manager. But in some places they go with a data analyst 1 or 2 and then go directly to data manager or clinical data manager, and after that senior data manager, senior clinical research data manager, then project manager, project management data manager, then lead. Then after that, after 10 or 15 years you have good solid experience, you could directly jump being a director, or land into associate director and data management, data operations and all. So this is what the hierarchy levels go in a generic way in the global perspective. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So, does everybody need a clinical background like you have, like a pharmacist, to become data manager?
No, not at all, because I just work with various kind of people. So if it is people who are from healthcare background, who are health professionals, it's good. There's one opportunity or one way to explore. Who are not having any sub background, they are still welcome, because we have great resources online. If you're really passionate and you want to build a career, it's always available. It's just like you need to be proactive and work upon and strive your way. You'll definitely get it.
I gotcha. Okay, so why, Aditya? Why is clinical data manager so sought after by entry level people? I'm confused because clinical research is a very secretive industry, very mysterious, and data management even more so because it's just a small part of clinical research. Well,
Mhm.
it's a large part, but it's a subsector of research. So, why is it that as so many people, besides CRA, everybody wants to be CRA also,
Yeah.
wants data management? How do they even know what this is? How it took me 10 years working in research to even like understand the basic. How do people know with no experience what this is?
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty simple. So once in order to step into the data management or clinical research data management, the one thing you need to start with is you should have some basics of clinical research. Otherwise, it's going to be really difficult to understand the clinical terminology and clinical terms where you use, okay, specific to data management. So I would recommend anyone go with the basics of clinical research or view Dan's 5 hour video
Hmm.
who are really wanting to start, you know, in the research area. Please do watch that. I just saw that and that's where I attracted to Dan. I'm here
Yes.
now podcasting.
Yes.
So please, anyone, to get the basics, start with clinical research. After that, slowly you need to go through how do you manage data and with all. So there are various capturing tools and various different uh, EDC, you mean like electronic data capturing systems. The most widely used in this field would be, the Rave, Medidata Rave, and Inform. So these two are the main EDC capturing system softwares which are used by the pharma world.
Right. Right.
So you get
What
trainings. Yeah.
what do you need technical proficiency? Like do you need to know how to code or anything like this?
Nothing much, because these softwares are too much of auto updated that you need to get some basic trainings how to use it and how to enter the data, and there are kind of reviews and checks and queries and all if
So
you more
basically
into.
metadata and like you were
Yeah,
saying, and so
many that way.
the two things you need is the EDC and the IWRS, you were saying? Those are the two things
Yes,
you need
yes, yes.
access to.
Just to get, yeah, just to get into, because most of the uh projects which we handle in the pharma world, they are being taken care by these two things. There are again various open source database systems you have online, and
Mm.
there's different things
So
going on.
do you think a CRA would make a good data manager?
Mm, it's like, as I heard from one of your videos that data manager could be a CRA. So if CRA is, because it's I don't say it's too much of oppositive, but CRAs in the monitoring time, they do raise queries, and we are the only team, keep on raising queries to site.
I
you
hate
know,
you guys. I hate you guys. As a site owner, I hate you data
oh
managers. The
my god,
sometimes help me understand this. I
yeah.
understand it's your job, but I get the dumbest queries. Like this is a complaint from all the sites to the
Yeah.
coordinator.
Hmm.
Sometimes the data manager issues the dumbest queries. And
Hmm.
you guys probably, I don't know if I'm wrong. Maybe you guys think it's dumb too, but are you just doing
Yeah,
your job?
exactly.
That's what
Yeah.
I thought because there's no way
Then
like
it's like multi people having different opinions and all. We think, okay, we are trying to raise a query and we go on to get it sorted out, and the site responds not exactly what we wanted, at least not close to that, and
have
it
you ever
really
seen
irritates us.
inappropriate responses by the
Oh,
site?
yeah, yeah, very frequent. So yeah,
What's the worst one you've seen?
it's so simple. I say the log, like the medication log is not entered. Please do enter. They say yes. I do just quickly check and say requery one. It is not really entered. Please do check and get back. They say it's entered, and I have to put like this. I can't amend. I say it's just click option, edit, and amend, and say no or yes. We
But
just say that. It's
but
so
what's
simple.
like because one of my coordinator like argues with
Okay.
data managers. You know,
Oh,
they'll argue back. And I tell
yeah.
them, hey, you know, this is a person just doing their job. They're
Yes.
not, you know, they're not like, I don't think they're doing it on purpose. to make your life miserable as a coordinator. So I'm really glad we have you on because
Yes.
study coordinator, they interact with the data managers every day. And I know now that I'm going to start getting back into study
Mm-hmm.
coordinating, it's going to be
Yeah.
the same thing as well. I have to get back into it, and I'm going to be replying not only to monitor queries but to data management queries. And
Yes.
it's good to know that a human being is
Mm-hmm.
issuing these queries. So
Yeah.
walk me through, because I assume some of the queries are auto generated by the system.
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes.
then when do you get involved? And then when does the CRA get involved? What's like the rules for this?
Sure, Dan. I'll do a quick thing in this. In terms of queries, as we all know, any inconsistency in the clinical trial data, it's obviously we, the data team, has the pressure and all those things. For all the CRAs or all the site team, please do listen this carefully because it's all the shared and experience emotions. We don't have any personal grudge like we have to raise a query and you have to answer that back. It's just a part of job. So coming to Dan's question on system generated queries, yes. So queries in the different kind of systems, they are system generated. So they are programmed in such a way that if you just a patient comes for a visit and you fill out XYZ form and you miss out some blank, the system sees that and it auto generates the query and it sends pop to you that please see record this thing is missing or please recall medication logs are missing. So that's what system does. And where we see that it flags into the status called open status. So the query is raised and it's open. So it comes to our notice, we see we have a query target that it has to be getting down. So let's say we have one trial, it has it has many number of ECRFs, and there are so much missing data, and the system raises it keeps on shooting out. So if the site team doesn't respond to the queries, the query list goes up. That's
Yeah.
where pressure comes to data team that you have to get it done. So we see then they send a response, and once the response is come, we just cross check and we close it out straight away. If there is any inconsistency, then we step in and we say requery one. If it's says they completed and it's not done, then we raise a requery. Or else we just away, close away, and all those things happens. So this is how the technically it goes upon in any environment. It's just like this. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So as a data manager,
Yeah.
you primarily issue queries with the sites after the
Yes.
CRA issues queries. Sometimes data management issues their own queries when
Yes.
things are not clear. This is
Yes.
usually where the arguments happen. Because I've
Yeah.
seen coordinator and PI fight with data manager in the comments. So you deal with this every day? Is this
Yeah,
every day?
it's pretty much like this. It's not every day, Dan. So in terms of once the setup site goes to live, the whole pressure for the data team would be once the site launches, the SIV happens and it goes to live. So the ECRF goes to live, then we are really peaceful, and the contact phase totally happens, and all the queries slowly pile up. We slowly respond it, but when the closeout comes, it's not we who do that because the sponsor needs a clean data set.
Yeah.
And if you don't close the queries done, and if the site doesn't respond to the queries, obviously we have to requery it because we are responsible to answer the site that, this data is there or not. So that's what we don't have personal grudge because we get some sponsor queries. The sponsors sometimes they are like so much of it, they hire their data managers and they send the queries that, raise it in your system and do that. And they are so particular with this because they want to, for XYZ reason, they want to end the trial and they want the data to be very clean and they
Yeah.
put pressure on us. And that's where we go raising
And
queries.
it makes sense because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
this is what the end product is for a
Yeah.
site, right? It's data. For a study, this is the end product is data. There's
Yeah.
nothing else. We're not selling physical goods. The sponsor's not generating anything. It's data they send to the FDA. That's
Exactly.
what the whole point of this. So I'm very glad you're able to come on and share this with me. So can you walk me through a typical day? Is every day the same?
No, because it again depends upon which phase you are hung up. Because if you're in setup phase and you have almost 5 to 6 trials, and depending upon the team we have, or people of 4 or 5, including data manager. We have a senior data manager, then we have the data analyst 2, 1, depending on the roles. Someone would be working on the build of the site, someone would be checking the UAT, the user acceptance testing, and I personally am involved in the ECRF designs, so initiating the
Ah,
ECRF designs. Yeah. So these are all the things. So we get a protocol, and I just see that I just have a particular design doc template. So I go through it. I just ECRF, I do the ECRF design, and I send to the PM, the project manager, so that he gives her comments, and the ECRF slowly builds on. Once that builds on, yeah, that makes my life easy. So it's the other guy who takes care of the build in the online system, like the EDC. So they build the ECRF online and they check for edit check specification. There are complex things really happen
right.
in the background. Yeah. And once it goes live, then we are peaceful, like the study is published. And for a couple of days, we get rest so that we don't issue any queries. And it's the site who starts actively recruiting patients, and they try to get all the data and everything. Once that's sorted, again, the data is there, then the system generates the queries, and then we are again involved to close the queries. Then again, we raise the queries, any inconsistencies. So this is practically how it works.
I see.
Again, setup, contact, and close out. So these two things, setup and close out, in these two phases, it's so hectic for in the data team to get all these things done, because there come couple of things which needs to be organized, which couple of things which needs to be done, like in terms of we have data management plan, like many documents, many checklists, like everything you have, like in ops team, like operations team, we do have our checklist as well. And then, of course, the craziest part is the database lock. And once it's
Mm.
done, we send all the data, clean data sets to statistician, and they're happy and the sponsor is happy. Yeah, we are
Mm.
head off with another trial.
So what's how many study do you do on average, like at one time?
So I'm involved in almost 7 to 8. So it depends on the CRO. So my CRO is really nice, and we handled a couple of studies because I was handling food clinical trials. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something on the probiotic samples and all. And now we are generalized, and we are also having the device studies as well. So the
Do
data
you,
is very less in terms of device studies because the sample will be less. But in terms of other, the sample again is high, and it again depends on the area which we do. So typically it would be somewhere around 4 to 5 studies. And it again depends, because not focusing all the 4 to 5 studies at a time, because we work on queries sometimes new study comes up, we look into ECI design. So it's like, part of it we do.
I give me the honest answer here.
Yeah.
Do you data managers actually know the protocol?
Yes, we do
Yeah.
read the protocol. Yeah,
Okay.
come on then. It's not
Okay.
like we don't even know what this is,
No,
because
I'm assuming that you have
yeah.
some kind of flow chart, but you don't
Mm-hmm.
need to know the protocol like as well as a CRA, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or a coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
Because most CRAs don't do 7 to 8 studies at once. They do one or two. And say
Mm-hmm.
with a coordinator, you can do maybe 3 or 4, maybe
Yeah.
5 if it's not so involved. But
Yeah.
7 to 8 is a good amount. So
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can't be as proficient, I don't think, as the coordinator or the CRA, right?
Mm-hmm. That's true, Dan. Because I don't personally. I say I'm handling 7 trials. Like I would be core involved in 2 to 3 trials, and
Mm,
I would be handling the queries. I'm saying, so that's what I was trying to say.
okay,
So in terms of protocol, I was saying we do protocol review, because without reading the protocol, you can't enter the data just blind, because PMs will go crazy on us. Like you don't even read the protocol, and how do you design the
I
ECRF?
see, I see. And
So we do read it.
there's no way you can issue a query manually unless you triple check the protocol, right?
Exactly. And most important part is the protocol amendments things over here, because
Mm,
protocol keeps on changing and amendments do happen. And if you're not well versed with the newer version of protocol, and the query is just related to the old protocol, and the site says, according to XYZ protocol, I have to go double check and get
I
back to the
see, I
people
see.
like, yeah, I have seen and I accept your query. Thank you for your response, and close it.
So
So we need to be on it.
when a protocol gets amended, does the
Yeah.
algorithm change the templates of the EDC, or or somebody like you do it?
No, no, it's all with the scientific team. They do that, the amendments and all. So in terms of queries, I do handle it, but sometimes it's even like this that they say, for example, a questionnaire which needs to be at visit 1 or 2, but it has taken at visit 2, but according to protocol it should be at visit 1. So that time here it all comes clumsy. Then they keep on trying to say, okay, protocol deviation has been logged, yes or no, because we have to write a reason. That's where we check, because in terms of again queries, yes, protocol deviation log, it has to be at visit 1, but it's been at visit 2. Yeah, simply close the query. So this
I
is what
gotcha.
typically it would
I
be.
gotcha. All right. So this is good because, most of the audience is
Yeah.
site level or CRA. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes this is like a strange new world of data management. We don't see anything from it
Mm-hmm.
except the interaction on the EDC system
Yeah.
with people like who Aditya seems like a great data manager, but maybe sometimes there's people who don't understand the protocol. I mean, is it possible? Like data manager issues query and they're wrong? Has it ever been possible?
Typically, it could have been somewhere with a data manager who is not that qualified. But
I
yeah,
see.
I wouldn't say 99% no one does. Especially data manager, mostly he focus upon the crucial aspects on how to do a data review, the safety reviews, the periodic reviews.
Gotcha.
He's more into that. Data manager, senior data manager. He also handled queries, but we being the data analyst levels of 1 2, we be more handling the queries. So it's like nothing should be going wrong in terms of data manager.
I
So again, it's
gotcha.
again well versed different meanings of that being a data manager. So
I gotcha. So this is for all the sites out there.
mhm.
Don't argue with data manager because 99% of the time they're gonna be right, not you, right?
Yeah. So if you say from DM perspective, I would say yes, but site doesn't agree. It's upon them. But yeah, we do our part. So
so what
no,
so what happens when site's not responding? Like does the CRA do you ever call the site? You or do you email or you're not allowed to
no,
contact site?
no. So we just raise a query and we do a couple of things. If that doesn't happen, we directly raise away. We just make an Excel form. We download the query report and we direct straight away mail to operations manager, and they have to take care of the site that the site is not responding and we have responsive pressure. So that operations manager would raise out to the site and say, you have XYZ list of pending queries which are in open space and it needs to be answered. So we are dealing with it. I'm dealing with it in my initial months.
I
It's so
gotcha.
tough with one of the studies. It's closing out.
So the
But
best way, what's the ideal candidate? What's the entry level role again? Is it data manager or is it
no, it's associate clinical data analyst. See,
okay,
associate CDM. It's basically the starting level. So where
associate CDM.
yeah, associate
So
CDM,
you're gonna
associate.
have a lot of people reaching out. Hey Aditya, how do I become associate CDM?
Yeah. hmm
What's the ideal candidate look like?
Yeah, it's not the ideal thing. So as I said, get some training. So get some awareness about the clinical research basics. Again, reach out to Dan video if you want to go through clinical research basics. And once that's done, the rest all basic things to enter into the CDM in the clinical data management field can be easily taught. And yeah, I personally take with a couple of my friends or colleagues. We take this module like way back in India. We are doing that at the moment. We have a small module starting from what tools, what skills you need to have once you're in the field of the CDM, and what are the skills you need to do in terms of growth in this career. I do have some knowledge, not being an expert as Dan say. Yeah, like Dan is an expert from my side,
No, you're
but
an
I'm not.
expert. You're an expert. Everybody needs to follow Aditya on LinkedIn right now. If you have any interest whatsoever in
Yeah.
data management, you need to follow him. He's a YouTube member. So he's like, I'm helping him roll out programs and product to help people achieve their goals in data management. So you
Yeah.
definitely need to reach out to him if that's the case because he's somebody to get to know when it comes to this role. What's the future of data management? Do you ever see
Mhm.
data manager and CRA becoming like one position? Is
It's like if you talk in terms of data management future, I have researched this part a bit more because I see. because in times of these pandemic times, so this data has been more and more. And if you see big four companies and big CROs and sponsor companies, they do hire a lot of people in the data management area, in field of data management. And then that's what we see. And I keep on subscribing and listening to the conferences, hosted by SCDM, Society of
Mm.
Clinical Data Management. They're the
Society
big
of Clinical
platforms.
Data Management.
Yeah, so they say, this comes, it's a fusion like that. I may be right or wrong, but from my perspective, I would say the growth is really high because the future is going to be data, and then it's going to be AI and all. So now the fusion is like this, that, the previously data manager, they have a software, EDC capturing system, that's what we call. You just open, close the queries, and, you finish your job, it's done. But it's nowhere like this because technology is evolving, AI is really improving. They're trying to incorporate all these things, and being this pandemic into major hurdle, and most of the trials have been decentralized, and everything is working from home, and work online. So everything is becoming eCRF. So every platform is becoming e-platforms. From eCRF to everything e-diary, everything is becoming
Hmm.
electronically, and that's where I see the growth is really good. And if you
More
someone
digitization.
Yes, and opportunities are good. The career hierarchy, again, people who are really interested in this and want to really make a career out of it, they have good growth in upcoming years, like where you want to go and what you want to be. And this is where what it
Have
is now.
have you seen colleagues of yours move into ClinOps and become CRA and coordinator? Is this like common?
Like my colleagues, I personally haven't seen. Like one of my friends, she was just thinking to come into data management because it's so much of work from home thing. And if you have a computer and a proper internet connection, Wi-Fi, that's it. You can sit anywhere and you can work out. And
So you
yeah,
work from home. You work from home.
yeah, like a couple of days I work from home, and a couple of days I just go to office because it's my initial thing to get in touch with everyone, because it's always good to catch up with project managers and the operation managers as well, to just
Mm.
show your face that you're there, and you're getting
But
it.
you don't have to go.
No,
I
you
see.
don't have to go really. If you just sit it, have a screen, and you have a laptop at your with good internet connection, that's it. You can really work on.
But for you, the benefit is going and
Yeah.
getting to know. It's different to
Yeah,
meet
it's
in
again
person.
different for different people, I would say, because some people would prefer only work from home. And so, I like from my personality, I would say I have to go and engage with other teams because I have to know them just to
Yeah.
maintain good relations and all, and just to know I'm a data guy.
Yeah.
They can
Yeah.
reach out to me because site reach out to the data team for various reasons and all, and we should be, little in that
Oh, the site
cocoon.
does reach out to you guys.
Yes, I do get good amount of data export requests. Like in terms of essential documents, we have, the data export requests. They would say change requests, ECRF change requests. So all the things it's been handled by data team.
I
Like they
see.
come to us and we do amend that online, and there we go.
I see.
Yeah,
Wow. This is like, yeah, this is see, I've been in this industry full
yeah.
time 16 years now, and I don't
Wow.
think I ever sat down and talked to a data analyst or a data manager in my
Mhm.
life. You know, my
Wow.
only interactions was dealing on the EDC with them, and
Yeah.
usually getting mad. So, Aditya, who's the biggest
Yeah.
employer, not company, but type of company of data manager and data analyst? Is it
Mhm.
CROs? Is it sponsors? Is it vendors? Who's
Mhm.
typically like the largest employers of data management?
So larger employer, I'd say it's again the tricky thing, but from my end, I would say it's Covance. It's enhanced by LabCorp. So
Mm,
they are again the vendors for again different kind of lab things they do.
gotcha.
Is a third party vendor, but yeah, LabCorp, which is also known as Covance earlier, is
So
the
CRO, that's a CRO.
yeah.
So would
It's
you
a
say
CRO.
CROs are the biggest employers of data managers?
So it's not typically CROs. Yeah, I would say CROs are there because the sponsor has always gives it to the CROs, and then they get it done, rolls out, and CRO makes it everything possible. So CROs, from my perspective, yes, and response companies do have their data managers, but not at that big level because they're more into R&D rather than all this other stuff.
Sales and marketing.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
reaching out. So
Okay.
yeah, from
Interesting.
my end, it's like that.
So let's see. We give advice. We give an overview. We give advice to the sites. Do
Yes.
you interact with CRAs ever?
Yes, we do have independent monitors. We have in-house CRS as well. Like not in-house CRS, like independent monitors we have.
Mm-hmm.
So we have in our CRO CRAs. We just go because in terms of closing queries, we get some targets and deadlines. So we talk to them like, hey, can you please check that you respond to them and close them out because we have a
You
target.
you just email them, the CRA directly.
Yes, not me personally because I'm the data analyst, so our manager does,
I
or
see.
data manager has the data manager does basically. So
So it'd
my
be
data
like either the data manager or the assistant
no,
doing
it's like
this.
yeah, the data manager or the operations. If it's external
Ah,
monitor, if it is external monitors, then operations manager because we have different sites. I think our CRO has one site in US, Chicago as well. So yeah, we do
I
have
see.
external monitor where our operational manager reads to her or him, and then we get it done. Yeah, it's like that.
I see. I see.
Yeah,
And
yes,
you work on international trials, so your sites could be all over the world.
yes, it could be. Yeah, I
Okay,
work on a couple of multi-center trials. Yeah.
I see. But for the most part, are they Europe based or US?
You like a bit of Europe based and Europe based, mostly Europe based, and then a bit of USA. That's it. So we
I
are
see.
mostly in that. We are really expanding. Our team is
I
really
see. I
expanding.
see.
It's really good. Yeah.
So I'm looking at your LinkedIn. I love the said guru on the
Thank you.
background. He's
Yeah.
a awesome guy. I recommend everyone read Inner Engineering. So
Yes.
you've got, you're going to be putting out some content, data management type of stuff, education. There's a need. There's a huge need for this. Like I
Yes.
said, how is it possible? 16 years I worked in this industry. I know almost nothing about what you guys do.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know how that's possible, but it is, and I think that's a huge opportunity
mhm.
for you to run with it,
Yes.
and
Yes.
you do this. You teach people, so I like this. I really appreciate you coming on, Aditya.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you, Dan.
Anything else you wanna add, or anything we did not discuss that you think is important?
So I think that's all pretty much we discussed. Discussed the importance and the top lead notch for CDM. I know what's the career progress and growth for people around. So yeah, it's all pretty much all discussed. So yeah, one thing I would like to just end off with, I just connected with Dan, seeing the title. Like yeah, not a fan. I'm also more to Sadhguru what he does in terms of yoga, meditation, and all. So people who really want to reach out, lot of content like Dan puts free. It's always online in terms of yoga meditation. So people who want you, they can reach them out online. And I specifically the term guru, like in India we say the term guru is someone, like there are many versions, but for to be original in this, the term guru, he is the dispeller of darkness.
Yes,
So
I
that's the
learned
main
that from
thing.
Sadhguru, actually, from his
Yes.
book.
And when I see Dan's channel, Clinical Trials Guru, I see, yeah, Dispeller of Darkness, yes. I see
And
he throws some light in clinical research.
when I came up with that
Love that.
name, my wife actually came up with that name. I had no idea that's what
Wow.
it meant. Yeah, I read his book 2 years
Oh,
ago, and that's when I learned it. I was like,
wow.
wow, that's pretty cool. She just thought it sounded like a good name, and I was like, okay, I didn't care what it would be.
Yeah.
And that's what it turned out to be. And now it's Guru Nation, guys. Guru
Guru Nation,
Nation,
yeah.
and Aditya's part of it. And Aditya's gonna be doing lots of stuff over here on LinkedIn. So stay tuned. Definitely somebody to follow. Definitely somebody that's very accessible on LinkedIn. Reach out. Come
Yeah.
on, he's got a wealth of information, sharing it with you. So thank you so much, Aditya. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah.
And
It's my
we'll
pleasure
come on
as well.
again, and when you have things to announce, and various things like this. And I appreciate everybody watching and listening. And again, under the video or in the show notes, if you're on the podcast, click. Aditya's LinkedIn is one click away. One click away. That's all it is. Thank you. Thank you, Aditya, and thank you, everybody else. And we'll catch you all later. Bye bye.